When we are talking about general studies section of geography for the purpose of mains examination, and when I have been approached by this institute, this organization to record certain things for them, then after having taken a look at some of those things that has been conveyed to me by some of my past students, and also whatever that goes on to be existing right now, it became imperative, and also because it was essential, not only imperative, it was essential that one should go on to know the entire of the truth in this case. There is what exactly is the syllabus, what is the meaning of this syllabus, how is it that it has to be approached, what exactly are the indications that the different type of questions that have been asked that go on to convey. And all in all, if we are going to be talking about that part, then we also go on to be taking a look at certain aspects associated with how is it that the questions that are going to be asked in the future will be framed. Now first take a look at the very brief of the syllabus and what exactly does it going to mean. It goes on to talk about, first is going to be the salient features of physical geography of the world. That is one part. It's world geography and salient features of world's physical geography. Now imagine the topic does not go on to say it is principles of physical geography. The topic says features of world geography. Now features means something different, principles means something different. The second is about the distribution of key natural resources across the world. Now again, as part of the syllabus, it doesn't go on to say something about the issues associated with the natural resources across the world, including South Asia and Indian subcontinent. The third part is factors affecting the location of primary, secondary and tertiary sector industries in various parts of the world, including India. So how is it that the location of these industries and industrial activities go on to take place? These are the factors. That is primary, secondary and tertiary, all of them. The other part is going to be associated with important geophysical phenomena. That is, this phenomena goes on to include earthquakes, tsunami, volcanic activity. Now this is one of the topics that is going to be such as. The word is going to be in this case such as, not exactly that these are the only phenomena that has to be studied. So when you're going to be talking about geophysical phenomena, incidentally, it will also going to include certain things like auroral display. It will also going to include certain things like tornadoes. This is going to be a part of it. So when the word has been such as, then it means some type of a change. The fifth part is going to be associated with geographical features and their location. When we are going to be talking about geographical features, the meaning of word geographical locations is going to be, features is going to be significant. So is it that geographical features will go on to mean something that is going to be associated with rivers, landforms or settlement, or is it going to be all of them? Now that is going to be a significant part associated with it. And then what are the changes that go to take place in the critical geographical features, including some of the water bodies. Now water bodies go on to mean lakes, swamps, it can be any type of a creek. These are going to be water bodies, including water bodies and ice caps. Now ice caps means all of those type of ice caps that we're going to talk about. That is ice sheet, ice dome, ice shelf, and valley glaciers, continental glaciers, all of it. This is what it goes on to mean, and ice caps. Otherwise, ice cap will go on to mean only Antarctic, nothing else. And then changes in the flora and fauna and the effects of certain type of changes. When we are talking about flora and fauna, so what exactly are the changes that are taking place in the vegetation, that is flora, animals, both of them, and how is it that it is going to be impacting the human beings? Yes, effectively, when we are going to be talking about the impact of some of these type of changes, this is what it means. The world geography section goes on to be important and significant for prelims and mains, both of them. When we are going to be talking about prelims and mains, you take a look at it, that is essentially going to be something like some 6 to 10 questions from this section can be asked in the preliminary examination. You don't have to look for something very specific with respect to the preliminary examination. These are the sections from which 6 to 10 questions are going to be asked. Now, that's not a discussion about the preliminary examination at all in this case. We are moving ahead with something that is going to be associated with the mains examination. So the mains analysis goes on to be based on the questions that have been so far asked in the examination. For example, as you will go on to find it, that is the questions that have been asked 2017, 16, some questions have been categorized in this manner in physical geography. Now, these are the questions that will go on to give you an idea as to what this syllabus is and what the topic goes on to mean. Now, understand it from a different angle. We have taken a look at the syllabus. Now, when we are going to be talking about syllabus and when we are going to be talking about the components of the syllabus, we have not so far analyzed the syllabus. But then the questions will go on to help us analyze what exactly is going to be the nature of the syllabus. What the syllabus means and what it is that the examiner understands. And is it that this is the same type of understanding that will keep on taking place year after year or so? The answer in this case goes on to be anything, but it can go on to be different, very, very different that way. So picking up the first section, first question, account for the variations in salinity and discuss its multi-dimensional effects. Now, this is not a question of a world's physical geography. This is a question of principles of physical geography. And when we're going to talk about principles, then all of these topics like salinity, like ocean currents, they go on to become part of the principles of physical geography. Now, whatever may be the syllabus, maybe someone has interpreted the syllabus in a different manner. I say that if someone has interpreted syllabus in a different manner or the wordings in the syllabus are not correct. So it should have been principles of physical geography. But whatever it is, it means that there will be two people who will go on to interpret the syllabus, one exactly going by the words, that is one part, and the second person will be the one who will go on to interpret it in a manner that he or she likes to interpret. Now, taking a look at this question, when you are going to be talking about the effects of salinity, then that goes on to become pretty technical in the sense that is it will go on to talk about osmotic pressure on the water surface. It will also go on to talk about how is it that the salinity increase can go on to lead to density. How is it that increase and decrease in salinity is going to be associated with the evaporation of the water bodies. How is it that such type of increase or decrease will also go on to lead to more rains or less rains? How is it going to be associated with the dryness conditions? Everything is going to be a part of it. And that's what exactly is going to be our main concern in this case. Multi-dimensional effects. So is it going to be on the organism? Answer is yes. Is it going to be on the climate? Yes. Is it going to be on the water? It is going to be yes. So is it that it will go on to bring about a change in the marine floral conditions and marine floral composition? The answer in this case will be yes. So that's one of these type of question. This is a question that is pretty technical. Even the optional students will find it difficult to answer when it comes to multi-dimensional effects. Most of these students from optional, what they will go on to do is that these students from optional will be associated with and responsible for studying the topic more in a theoretical manner rather than picking up some of these type of effects. The second question. Himalayas are highly prone to landslides. Discuss the causes and suggest suitable measures for mitigation. This is not exactly a question of physical geography. This is more a question of a disaster management, somehow closely associated with physical geography. The third of them is explain the formation of thousands of islands in Indonesia and Philippines archipelago. We are going to be talking about it, that is 2014. When we are going to be talking about thousands of islands and in the Indonesian and Malaysian archipelago, we are essentially talking about island arcs. Now, this is one of these topics that we are going to be talking about, island arcs. That's what it is. That means how is it that the island arcs go to form? Now, this is a topic of plate tectonics. And when we say that this is the topic of plate tectonics, basically it means that this is again theoretical principles. It's one of the principles of physical geography. And similarly, pick up another of this topic. Why are the world's fold mountain system located along the margins of the continents? And bring out the association between the global distribution of fold mountains, earthquakes, and volcanoes, three of them. Maybe you can go to add a third one, that is going to be fold mountains, earthquakes, volcanic activity, as well as trenches, all three of them. That's what we are going to be talking of in this case. Now, this is again a topic of principles of physical geography, not exactly. That is salient features of world's physical geography. And picking up this part, that is what you understand by the theory of continental drift, discuss the prominent evidence in its support. So when we are going to be talking about the evidences in its support, then now think of it. This is again a part of principle, because that is something that is not going to be studied as part of features. Features means it should go on to mean that is the mountain ranges of the world, that is the entire of the deserts of the world, the entire of the shields of the world. This is what is meant by features. Then why there is no formation of deltas by rivers in the Western Ghats? Of course, that is Indian physical geography. That's very practical. That's very, very applied. Now, that is true to the nature of the syllabus. The previous three questions were not in the syllabus. They have been asked by someone who thought that this is what is meant by the syllabus. But there will be always people like that. Of course, they will not going to be having so much amount of experience in a manner that we are going to be talking about here. The last of this, bring out the causes for more frequent landslides in Himalayas and than in Western Ghats. Now, when we are going to be talking about why is it that more amount of landslides take place, that is again a question of disaster management. Maybe that we are going to be picking up this topic in physical geography only for a simple reason that it has some degree of a connectivity with physical geography. 2013 in climate, that is also part of physical geography. And again, it's one of these components of salient features of physical geography, whereas this is going to be one of these topics that is going to be associated with something that we go on to be correlating it with not physical geography. We are going to be correlating with principles. Major hot deserts in northern hemisphere are located between 20 to 30 degrees north and on the western side of the continents. Now, this is a topic, actually, it's not associated with any principle. Had it been associated with principle, it would have been a precipitation. Discuss the theories for the formation of precipitation. Now, that's not so. It is an applied sense, and it's again true sense of the term that is going to be physical geography. Because as part of studying the entire of the world's physical geography, this is something that you require to study. Second is the concept of air masses and explain its role in macroclimatic changes. That's again theoretical. So we'll now start picking up and dividing the topic into theoretical or being a practical of sorts, or being maybe one following the features and other goes on to be theoretical. 2015 we are going to be talking of explain the factors responsible for the formation of ocean currents. That is theoretical. And how is it that they're going to influence the regional climate? That indeed is going to be something associated with the application part of it. That is the influence of ocean currents on regional climate, fishing, and navigation. Now, talking about it, how far do you agree that the behavior of Indian monsoon has been changing due to humanizing landscape? Now, that is going to be practical. That is part of Indian physical geography. Very, very well framed question. 2014, if you can go to pick it up, that is going to be tropical monsoons are largely confined to South Sea, Bay of Bengal, and Gulf of Mexico. Now, this is a combination both theoretical part as well as the features of world's physical geography. When we're going to say it's going to be theoretical part and world's physical geography, that means why is it that the tropical cyclone is going to form? And when we're going to be talking about salient features of the world physical geography, basically it goes on to mean that we are going to be talking about different parts of the world, different regions. So South China Sea, Bay of Bengal, Gulf of Mexico, maybe any of them. A question on El Nino that goes on to follow. What the most of the unusual climatic happenings are explained as an outcome of El Nino effect. Do you agree? So when we go on to be talking about it, it is El Nino is a part of theory. El Nino is a El Nino southern oscillation. ENSO, it's part of an ENSO event. That is what exactly is the topic about, and this is not going to be associated with salient features once again. All in all, the next question, that is the relationship between the shrinking Himalayan glaciers and the symptoms of climatic change in Indian subcontinent is more practical, more from Indian geography. Of course, these are the type of questions that goes on to suit the study of Indian geography. But then our focus has been completely on world geography, and particularly world's physical geography right now. Pick up this topic in 2013, that is the recent cyclone on the east coast of India was called Fauna. How are the tropical cyclones named across the whole of the world? We are talking about the recent cyclone on the east coast of India was Fauna. How is it that the tropical cyclones are named? Now this is both. It's going to be part of it, but more on the practical side. It does go on to suit the syllabus and it's part of it. When we're going to be talking about the causes of formation of heat island and the urban heat island in the world, causes of it, it's a very contemporary topic, very, very contemporary, and it is indeed a part of Indian geography, part of world geography, part of theory, part of practical part, everything. Talking about the other one, that is the understanding about the phenomena of the temperature inversions in meteorology, that goes on to be again theoretical. How does it affect the weather and the inhabitants of the place is not salient features of world physical geography, it is theory. How does it go on to take place? It's not talking about that is Western Europe has been affected by temperature inversions of late. What do you think had been the reasons for Western Europe getting affected by temperature inversions? That is what would have been on the physical geography of the world. It's principles of physical geography. Now, so far, so good. When we're going to be talking about physical geography and the principles of physical geography, that is where slight amount of a difference in approach can go on to be, because it goes on to leave the topic open to some degree of an interpretation. Now, we are all in all going to be moving on to another section. There is after world's physical geography, we move on to resources. And now, from here onwards, the syllabus goes on to become evened out. One of these questions that have been asked, petroleum refineries are not necessarily located near to crude oil producing areas, particularly in many of the developing countries. Explain its implication. That's very applied. And in spite of adverse environmental impact, coal mining is still inevitable for development. Of course, it is not for development, it is for growth, but then we understand that the examiner may not have known the difference between growth and development. Coal mining is never ever required for any development. Coal mining at all, if it is going to be, it is going to be required only for growth, not for development. 2016 was the effective management of land and water resources will drastically reduce the human miseries. Of course, we go to agree that is going to be correct. That is application based, and same is going to be the case with South China Sea has assumed great geopolitical significance. And moving on to the Indus Water Treaty question, and then the watershed development practices, and then the questions in 2015, that is the significance of oil in Arctic Sea and its possible environmental consequences, and Indian geography that is going to be associated with freshwater resources. Why is it that there is India suffers from such type of water scarcity, or the status of Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh in reaching to carrying capacity due to tourism? That means, of course, that is Indian geography. All in all, it's not part of world geography, but then both of these questions are going to be contemporary, they are applied, they are analytical. When we are going to be talking about critically evaluate the various resources of the oceans which can be harnessed to meet the resource crisis in the world, it is part of, lies in the periphery of, margins of the topic here. And how does India sees itself in economic space in the rising natural resource rich Africa? This is part of both. Think of it, the questions, that is economy as well as polity. And you will going to find that there are going to be more and more questions. They are going to be interdisciplinary, beginning with it. We have talked about that is resources, ocean marine resources, and how is it that it can go to meet the resource crisis in the world. That is going to be one part. And when we're going to be talking about economic space and its a relationship with Africa, that is a part of geopolitics and part associated with the resource section. In 2013, the question has been on a scarcity of fossil fuels. The atomic energy is gaining more significance. From now onwards, you will start finding that the questions are becoming either they are going to be dominated by India, or even in the world, they go on to be showing some amount of going to be showing some degree of application base in this case. We repeated here. Talking about agriculture, there is a primary activities, primary, secondary, and tertiary activity. As you can go on to see in these questions, most of these questions go on to follow the way it has been given in the syllabus, with a greater amount of an emphasis on Indian geography. Whether it is going to be green revolution, whether it is going to be plantation agriculture, whether it is going to be associated with the advantages of cultivation of pulses in India, it is. And when you are going to be talking about secondary activities, industrial location, then a spatial change in the spatial pattern of iron and steel industry in the whole of the world, that is a part of it. That is a whole of the world, and that indeed is a part of a true topic associated with the salient features of world's physical geography. And then we're going to be talking about 2013, that is there is a growing trend of opening new sugar mills in southern states of India, and a highly decentralized cotton textile industry of India. Both of them, they are again we are coming to Indian geography. And when we're going to be talking about Indian geography, then of course there are a host of topics that have been asked. Now you will understand that is the question stops somewhere at so far. I mean, if you're going to analyze the trend, we are not going to be discussing Indian geography, but otherwise I have given you a brief on Indian geography only for a reason that when you're going to know about Indian geography, you can go to know what are the topics that can be asked with respect to Indian geography. That's a separate discussion going to be altogether differently taken. Now, as you can go to take a look at it, you will go to find that there have been good number of questions on world's physical geography, on resources, and primary, secondary, and tertiary. Tertiary activity is less largely because there are not going to be too many questions on transportation. That's one part that is going to be missing in this case. Also, that in tertiary activities, you will going to find that there have been one or two questions in India. Most of these questions are going to be in India. The world is still completely left behind. Now, it doesn't mean that, as the students normally going to say, that is questions are not asked from this part. When it has been given in the syllabus, sometime or the other time, it is going to be definitely asked to you in the examination. That is going to be a part of it. Now, the third part in this case is going to be, that is the domination of these questions is going to be from first physical geography, and that to principles of physical geography. So we'll go on to take that into account, principles of physical geography, with a good amount of an application base as well. Principles of physical geography. The second part is going to be with resources. Third part is a primary, secondary, and tertiary activity. Now the fifth part will be geographical features and their location, and ice caps and other things. They have been completely untouched in this case. That means the possibility of questions being asked from this topic is going to be very, very, very high. Now, we are going to be talking about, that is, having known it, what are the generalizations that we can go to draw from the syllabus and the questions that have been asked. First is, there is one of the generalization is that it is given into you in the syllabus as salient features. It means principles, but it doesn't mean that the salient features of physical geography will not be asked. every 3 years when the UPC goes into change the panel, and maybe in this case there is a geography panel comes to, a new panel comes up, they will go to interpret the topic in the manner that is to be interpreted, and they will start asking questions from whole of world's physical geography. That's one part. Second is there is a slight degree of a mismatch between what is being given in the syllabus and the questions that have been asked in physical geography. The third is resource section. Most of these questions are going to be from the world as well as India. Agriculture from the world as well as India. Industry also from the world, India as well. Transportation, two list number of questions have been asked on transportation. Now, whereas we understand that the type of development that the civil aviation industry is undergoing through, and the development that is going to see, understand, and the boom that is going to be taking place in the civil aviation industry, so much so that you will going to find there is some of these so-called viral pictures on the net. That is one person from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh having folded his legs and putting it on the seat, sitting near the window. He is a first-time flyer and he is having a time of his life. And then when you're going to talk about that good number of people who are going to be boarding the plane for the first time, they try to forcibly open the door as well. And one of these days, this is going to happen, and that will be brought by the people from these two states. It is definitely going to happen. It's a matter of time. This is largely because it's not the fault of the people, it's the way that they have been brought up, and that they are not going to be given a lot of feedback before coming to board an aircraft. A mundane, a routine, robotic type of a description as to what is to do, this is something that doesn't going to be working with these people. That's going to be a problem. And of course, there are going to be other problems associated with it. So, aviation is going to be one sector from where a good number of questions are going to be asked. Not to talk about geographical features and their location, not to talk about ice caps and the features, not to talk about certain type of changes that are taking place in the polar geography. Now, to this effect, if it is going to be the case, what exactly is it that the student required to do? Now, most of this time, there is one thing that is generally propagated is the students need to study NCERT, Go Cheng Liang, and whatever. Now, take a look at these questions, other than only two of them, continental drift and questions, some of these questions from Indian geography. We are talking about Indian geography, not world geography. That is, you cannot go on to answer any question of world geography at all from NCERT or from Go Cheng Liang. The reason is that these books are meant to be first at a level where these topics are not analyzed in a topical manner. You're soon going to find that there are going to be a good number of questions that are going to be asked from transportation and geographical features and their location and everything that is going to be new from the world. For example, maybe there is going to be one question that can be asked that is going to be wide-bodied jets. That can be, how is it that they have changed the complexion? Why is it that some very large aircrafts like that of Airbus A380 could not be successful in India, or is unlikely to be successful in India? Questions of this type. And other geographical features can go on to be service settlements and maybe a variety of other type of topics as well. Now, talking about all of them, when we're going to be talking about the questions that have been asked in questions that have been asked in the past and the question that will be asked in the future, neither NCERT nor Go Cheng Liang helps you. If you're going to take a look at it frame by frame, syllabus by syllabus, question by question, you will not actually find that these books will be sufficient. Whatever that is going to be said by any of those people apart. Now, coming to it, that is, of course, being a part of this program of this institute, there is one of these books that will be going to be getting it, and we have seen it and we have brought it to a very, very contemporary analysis. That is the New World Geography, World Geography for the mains examination. That is one of these books. It has been an assimilative and editorial work and compilation from some of the best of these sources that can go on to be required. And then we make it sure that is absolutely nothing is going to be required from you when we go to be talking about what are the additional materials that the students can go on to go for. Now, having taken a look at the way questions are asked and the way what you have to study, we are going to be reframing the whole of the syllabus, that is the learning sequence and chapter structure, so that not only this year, not only next year, but year after year, you shouldn't go on to be having or facing any problem or any issues in this case. Now, the course sequence is not as per the syllabus as we are going to talk of. This is done to provide the course sequence that we are going to be following right now is not going to be as per the syllabus. This is largely because there are going to be good number of things that are going to be hidden in the syllabus. When we are going to say that they are going to be hidden in the syllabus, it means that they are implicit, they are going to be implied in this case. Even if it is not that they are going to be looking implied right now to this state, it will be implied after a certain amount of time. So, this is essentially done for the purpose of providing concept to the candidates. And if the candidates go on to follow one topic after another, then they will never be able to fail, at least in this context at all. The sequencing in and ordering has been done for the benefit of the students only, and it has been done essentially for the purpose of breaking the syllabus and the topics to simplify it part. So you're going to find that the whole thing has been done in 3 sections. The syllabus as it is, that is the salient features of world physical geography. Then the breakup and simplification, that will go on to comprise of geology and physiography, drainage, climate, soil, vegetation, and the type of questions that can possibly be asked out of it. When we're going to be talking about the type of questions that can be asked, then that will go on to give you a clear meaning of what exactly is going to be the meaning of it, meaning of the topic. So, for example, when we're going to be talking about the salient features of world physical geography, then what all physical geography can go on to comprise of? It can comprise of geology. Now, you're going to find that there was a topic associated with geology of the world, and that was going to be associated with why is it that the fold mountains and volcanoes and earthquakes, all of them go on to be getting correlated. You have not found any question associated with physiography, but then this is part of the physical geography of the world, salient features of the world's physical geography, not principles of physical geography. In geology, we are going to be talking about the principles of physical geography. That's the basic reason that we have used the word geology. We have divided the syllabus and breakup of it into geology. So geology will go on to comprise all the theoretical components like plate tectonics, like tsunami, or any of them, or maybe going to be associated with any feature like it can be continental drift as well, from which a question has been asked once. And we don't going to say that the question will be asked always in this case. Then geology is going to be one, physiography, drainage, climate, soil, and vegetation. When we're going to be talking about drainage, climate, soil, and vegetation, that goes on to make it complete of physical geography. So, associated with climate, there are again going to be 2 components. One of them is going to be theoretical component, another is going to be associated with the applied aspect of it. In drainage, there can never be. Now, either on physiography or on climate, on drainage, no question so far has been asked. Once a question has been asked on soil, that is with respect to black cotton soil, and even on vegetation goes on to be part of it, but then the topic has been repeated once again as part of a floral and faunal changes. That is going to be a component of it. So what are the type of questions that can possibly be asked out of it? That will go on to give you a much more clear idea. For example, if you are going to take a look at question number 1, what are the basic characteristics of shields and cratons? Why is it that they are significant for any country geography? It's a rarity that this question can be asked, but nevertheless, we are going to be picking up this topic of what exactly are shields, cratons, platforms, and other type of areas. We are going to be picking it up that. Then geology has a strong influence on mineral resource base of India or world. Explain with examples. Now, when we are picking up this topic, that is relationship of geology with mineral resources of the world as well of India, it is both applied and theoretical. Examples means that we are going to be talking about the physical geography of the world. Whenever we are going to be talking about India, of course, it goes on to be talking about the country that is going to be in a more or less applied form. Then what are the different forms of measuring the height of the mountains and the peaks? That is going to be theoretical, but that is part of physiography. And the physiography and location of Russia is one of these factors that hasn't insulated it as well as that has insulated it as well as protected it. To what extent is going to be correct? Now that is combining both the physiography of Russia as well as its geopolitical part, both of them. It comprises both of these components. And in a similar manner, also that we're going to be picking up other topics. Now you can go to pick up some of these topics like question number 6. The orientation of mountain ranges of Western Europe has been a major factor influencing the climate of Western Europe. Explain that part. We are talking about the orientation of how is it that the mountain ranges and climate go on to be both getting correlated. We are about to discuss how physiography of North America helped the population distribution and migration. Now we are going to be talking about two of these mountain ranges, and that is a correlationship of both the physiographic aspects of mountain as well as this part that we're going to call it as a migration of the people and then distribution. Of course, the mountains have played a very significant role in this case. And following that, that is the 8th type of a question, that is a reason for trench formation on the western side of South America. Now, the basis of asking this question is if a question can be asked on a relationship of mountain building with earthquake and volcanoes, all of them, then it basically goes on to mean that even a trench formation can also be asked. And we are going to be talking about how is it that this trench is so unique in physiography and its location. We are talking about that part. So that is going to be one of these forms that is an extension of this topic here. Now picking up a 9th type of a question, and of course 9th question as well, that is the origin of East African Rift Valley. It's the characteristic of the East African Rift Valley and its uniqueness. That is it is as a part of it, its formation will also go on to be a significant component. The Cosgrove volcanic chain, that is going to be something that is very, very recent. So why is it that it has formed? So it goes on to be again theoretical as well as practical in this case. Coming on to the climate part of it, other than geology and physiography, climate has a strong bearing upon the economic activities of the people of Southeast Asia, correlated with two things, that is climate as well as economic activities. That is tin mining, that is rice in that place. And we want to be talking about the characteristic of Tibetan drainage and what are its implications for Central, South and Southeast Asia. Now that means we are talking about drainage and to what extent is it that this can go to play a role in the geopolitics of the whole of the world. That is going to be significant. 13th is going to be associated with the fact that South America is the greatest reservoir of water in the world, and discuss the regions which are responsible for it and how does it happen. We are essentially in this case talking about one recent finding, that is Hamza River, and the second is going to be associated with the fact that is why exactly is it that the Hamza River goes on to exist in this case. There are going to be two components associated with it. As you can go to take a look at it, that is the other topics, that is the origin of the Great Lakes, that is part of drainage, and how is it that it goes on to affect the climatic condition. And then we're going to be talking about, discuss in brief the factors that affect the climate of Europe and why is it that and how is it that goes on to make it so distinctive. We are talking about, of course, also with the climate, despite the fact that the equatorial regions receive a very high amount of rainfall, all the equatorial regions go on to differ from each other in many ways. This is a part of it, and so on and so forth. You're going to find one question, that is 17th on El Nino, 18th is going to be on soils, 19th is also on soil, and 20th is going to be in the vegetation zones. But then most of these questions are going to be from geology, physiography, climate, with some questions on it. Now that is the way that the syllabus has to be seen. Now of course we're going to take a look at all of them. Now when we are going to be talking about distribution of natural resources across the world, including South Asia and Indian subcontinent, that means goes on to comprise both of them. But we must make it clear that we are not talking about Indian geography as a part of this section. We'll be talking about it, but then in a different way altogether. Now, when we're going to be talking about mineral resources, one of these questions that goes on to reflect itself is going to be briefly describe the mineralized zones of the world and associated mineral formation with particular reference to petroleum resources of the Middle East. When we are going to be talking about the mineralized zones of the world and associated mineral resource formation, that is combining two of them, that is geology as well as a mineral resource formation. Pick up the second topic. Why did energy crisis took place in 71 to 72, and is it that there is any crisis right now, and if yes, what can be the present solutions and what can be the possible solutions? If you can go to extend this topic that way, you can go to find that is going to be on third question is going to Western is the Indian form of management of water resources. Fourth is going to be on what are the different types of water management, that is the inputs of it. Fifth is how exactly is it that water can be conserved. And the sixth can be the impact of dams and the displaced people and what can be sustainable means of negating their impact in this case. The seventh is going to be all about financial and economic performance of the dams, which leaves a lot behind to be desired. Now that is going to be about the impact of dams, the implications of dam, and we are going to be talking about. Then eighth is contemporary artificial structures for groundwater recharge and the relative advantage for the whole of the world as well as for India. That's India specific, but it can be asked in world also. One of these new topics associated with India has been glacial harvesting. After something associated with glacial harvesting has been done, that is going to be picked up as part of it. And resources in the part of primary activities, fisheries is going to be part of it. The cultural significance of forests, lumbering, and China's position in the world from the perspective of rare earth element mineral resources. And shale resources, that is going to be question number 4. That is going to be combining both of them, global economic and global politics, both of them. And same is the case with question number 15, that is oil resources of the Gulf, and how is it that it has led to some type of geopolitical advancements and developments in the place here. On hydropower, there cannot be any topic bigger and better than that of Three Gorges project here. And when we're going to be talking about nuclear power, that provides as much advantage, but it is loaded with disadvantages, limitations. Do you agree? It is a part of a blue-blooded question on resources, that is nuclear power as a resource. And that's the way that the questions can go on to be framed with respect to resource section as well. The third segment is going to be on factors responsible for the location of primary, secondary, tertiary, and other type of industries. Now, it's not going to be the questions that have been asked that not going to be only on the types of industries. Effectively, what it means is we are discussing about 3 different type of sectors: the primary sector, the secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. And primary sector means agriculture, secondary sector means industries, tertiary sector goes on to mean the services. So, of course, if it is going to be about a tertiary sector, then it is going to include IT revolution as well. It is going to include optic fiber cables as well, as per the syllabus. We are following only the syllabus. It's only that we are simplifying what all that you require to study, and then we are giving you some examples with respect to questions that will go on to make you understand this topic even better. So, talking about the first part, that is first question, 21st, question number 21st, a brief account of the changes in what agriculture types in the new world. We are talking about new world, not exactly the old world. New world means now you have to talk about decipher the meaning of it. New world is going to be about United States, North America. And 22nd question is the agriculture disparity prevailing in the whole of the world and the underlying causes. Now, when we are going to be talking about agriculture disparity, that means regions which going to be having a high productivity, regions which going to be having a low productivity. Now, that goes on to be having a special connotation, and as we talked about before also, that is it is truly a topic of salient features of world's geography. But then it is also going to be very, very applied as well. It's not going to be theoretical in this case at all. Theoretical in this case means there is how is it that what are the factors that will go on to affect the location of agricultural activity. Now, this is what exactly has been done in the first part, that is physical geography. Ideally, they should be asking a question on how is it that the Appalachian range is formed. Now, that would have been better. Or how is it that a mountain like that of Andes goes on to form, that goes on to become better. But the moment they start talking about there is what exactly is plate collision, that means that becomes theoretical. When someone goes on to talk about that is there are going to be certain type of imbalances that exist in the agriculture in let's say Africa or in North America or even in South America. Now that goes on to become part of physical geography. If they going to talk about what are the models of the evolution of regional imbalances in agriculture, that goes on to become theoretical. So the questions that are going to be asked in UPSC that has been so far asked, they themselves going to be contradicting a lot of things in this case. And because they happen to be contradicting it, and that is what goes on to become our main concern in this case. Anyhow, we are trying to even it out so that it goes on to become very, very easy for you. So, agriculture, growth and planning has an environmental cost. Discuss, that means agriculture and planning, both of them are going to be correlated. And similarly, you can go to pick up some of these concepts like one of these topics that have been asked some time back, relevance of the bottoms-up and tops-down approach in the development of a agrarian economy. There is either from the top or from the bottom. How is it that an agrarian economy can be developed? Then picking up these questions from certain things like, let's say, industries. And this is the question that have been asked. The factors for the location of foreign industry of the United States with a special reference to shift in their location after World War II. Now, the topic is World War II. When we're going to be talking about World War II, that means that it goes on to be having a geopolitical connotation. So, we are talking about the factors for the location of our steel industry and its geopolitical connotation in this case. Of course, we're going to be talking about locational significance of New York in the American economy. That is part of tertiary sector. So one was secondary, this goes on to become tertiary. Then we talk about why did industrial relocation took place. Give an account of the shift in the industrial locations in Asia. Now, we are again making it applied in the sense that we are not talking about there is a why at all it is that industrial locations going to shift. Discuss the theory of someone like, let's say, Middle. Now, that goes on to become theoretical. Now, I just, by this discussion, I just want to point it out to you that is, there is some degree of a mismatch in the first part of the topic. There is salient features of world's physical geography. Of course, UPSC is not an infallible institution that will not go to make any mistakes. It does make it, and when it makes it, it doesn't go to accept it also. Talking about there is 34, that is an account of the problem faced by industries which are developed due to inertia, with a special reference to India. Of course, India is going to be part of it. Inertia, that means once they develop, how is it that they're going to pick themselves up? 35th question is going to be significant, very, very applied on a global scale. The concept of aviation hub and examine the contribution to the national economy. There is what is the concept of aviation hub? And then that goes on to follow in question number 36. There is what exactly is going to be the impact of Dubai being an aviation hub, and why at all is it that Dubai will go on to frame itself as an aviation hub, or why at all is it that Dubai will go on to become an aviation hub? This is going to be part of 36. 37 is going to be, why is it the Russian government is so interested in developing the Baikal-Amur main line? That's again world geography, applied section of it. And the more applied will be the question number 38, that is categories of passenger jet trains, whether they are wide-bodied or they are narrow-bodied. And then we are going to be talking about types of operations of the freight market and their role. Freight market, that means how is it that you can go to move the freight. And associated with aviation itself, because of a rise in the low-cost carriers throughout the whole of the world. Low-cost carriers are distinguished by several common features. What are these features and how is it that they have transformed the air travel? That goes on to become our topic here. So that is going to be a special reference to that. Now that goes on to bring us into the fourth section, that is important geophysical phenomena such as earthquakes, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclones, etc. Now all in all, this is one section that you must go on to do. And why is it that you must go on to do this section? Because once having done that, it will go on to help you everywhere. It will go on to help you in options, it will go on to help you in disaster management. And in any case, you have to deal with this topic, you have to discuss this topic as part of disaster management. What we have done is that we have classified the whole of geophysical phenomena. As you can go to find it, beginning with meteoritic impact, asteroidal impact, magnetic reversal, mass extinction, aurora, earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, landslides, cyclones, tornadoes, blizzards, thunderstorm, lightning, everything included as a part of it. Now in this case, there is no need to discuss what are the questions and possibly that they can be asked. They are going to be very, very explicit, very, very implied. But then this is the topic that has to be studied along with the topic of disaster management. Now this goes on to bring the questions are going to be there and you can go on to take a look at it. That is some of these topics, like let's say question number 15, why do blizzards form? The impact of blizzards is very elaborate. What are they and how is it that they're going to affect it? Then measures that can be taken by a person if they're going to be trapped in a blizzard. And again a question on that. Tornadoes are not common in India, but they have frequented some regions of India because they did went on to affect some portions of Maharashtra. They did went on to affect one of these portions. Some time back was reported by some villagers. And because there were some villagers that were reporting it, we assume that that must have been correct of sorts. Other than that, otherwise, maybe that this can go on to be as it is a fake news, and that goes on to be a work of a Photoshop, and maybe some of this type of animation intelligence as well. So, when we are going to be talking about question number 18, 19 and 20, you will going to find it, that is hailstorms, 19th is going to be on the cloudburst, hailstorm. All of these questions or even mass extinction, they go on to be having one component that is going to be very, 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 very implied. And what exactly is that? That is if it is going to be a disaster of sorts, then it has to be managed. If it is going to be a theoretical part, of course, geophysical phenomena, and we are not contradicting in this case. So you need to know why is it that such type of geophysical phenomena take place. So why is it that auroral displays goes on to take place? It's not about a mismatch, because a question on this type of a topic has not been asked at all so far. What has been a mismatch has been salient features of physical geography, and the question that are going to be asked is theoretical. In this case, they go on to say that it's going to be theoretical, geophysical phenomena. So all of them, that means tsunami, it's theoretical because why is it that the tsunami is going to take place? And then coupled with it and above it, we do going to be having one section imposed on it, and that is going to be connected to its application base. That goes on to bring us on the fifth component of it, the geographical features and their location. And changes in geographical critical features, including water bodies and ice caps in flora and fauna, and the effects of such type of change. Now, you will go to understand two components. It's simple and it's most clearly defined segment. Ice caps, water bodies, we are talking about the lakes and rivers, and all of these geographical features. Now, geographical features can be natural, geographical features can be artificial. They can be both. It can be natural, it can be artificial. So what can be a natural geographical feature? A type of a landscape can go on to be a natural feature. That's one part. So riverine topography can be a part of geographical feature. Marine topography can be a part of geographical feature. That's a part of it. Also, what can be a geographical feature will be certain type of lakes. Lacustrine topography can go on to be a part of a geographical feature. Ecosystems can go on to be a part of geographical feature. And one of them is natural, the second is going to be cultural. So cultural features will go on to include some of these features like that of settlements, like that of whatever that goes on to happen as part of rural settlement, urban settlement, that is going to be a component of it. So consequently, that is the question goes on to begin by one of the geographical features. Question number 1, what are ecosystems and how is it that they are classified? Both of them. And we are talking about this no mismatch because the questions on this topic has not been asked. And we do not going to say that the questions can never be asked. We going to say that these are the type of topics from which the questions are always likely to be asked. Then bring out the difference between ecosystems and biomes and explain the salient features of different ecosystems. And when you're going to be taking it forward, you're also going to take it like explains how waterfalls can go to form. Waterfall is geographical feature. That is question number 4. Question number 5 is the most distinctive feature in the middle and the lower course of the river. Question number 6, mechanism of formation of delta, because delta is a geographical feature. And most of these questions that are going to be centered around, they are going to be actually talking about a micro scale feature. And question number 8 is on Aeolian features. Question number 9 is going to be on U-shaped valleys. Question number 10 is going to be in the formation of different types of beaches in India. We are going to be talking about different types of beaches. So it can go to be how is it that the beaches are formed with a special reference to India. Mechanism of formation of the Himalayan lakes and wetlands. Also, how is it that the islands are going to form? What are the different types of islands? That was question number 13. And 14th is going to be about the cultural geographical features like compactness of the settlement. And question number, why is it that some of these settlements can go to be compact? And then you're going to be talking about the reasons for the decline of the city center in India. There is again a cultural feature. That is going to be 18th is going to be the features of the slums in India and how is it that planning can go to help it. Then other features going to be urban sprawls, the green belts, satellite towns and megalopolis. Now, this is how geographical features are all going to be identified and discussed from one to another. Now, associated with it and over and above it, you can go on to pick up something else that will go on to be part of how is it that the Arctic blast goes on to take place, what is Arctic vortex, and how is it that the polar areas are getting themselves changed. That is going to be one part of it. Now you can go to think of another question that can be possibly framed out of it. That is, what exactly are going to be the causes of melting of the Greenland icebergs, and what exactly can be the implications of it, if it is going to be about a change. Now, this is the way that the questions will go on to proceed. So, that was the third part of the discussion. The first part was the syllabus. The second part was what exactly have been the questions that have been asked. The third part had been how is it that we can go to organize it. The fourth part is going to be answered with the course plan. That is, if you can go to, of course, you're going to take a look at this table that is going to be on your screen. You will go on to understand it. What exactly do we going to mean by that? What can be the sequencing of this topic, and how is it that the whole of the course is going to be proceeding also. As you can go on to understand it, that is as part of the course, what your institute is providing is that is the topics. You're going to be getting a chapter on this topic. You're also going to be getting a video explanation and a multimedia explanation. Of course, that is going to be narrated by me in this case, and then it will go to your institute. That will be edited. A lot of animations will be put in that place, and accordingly, it is going to be made a complete chapter. Then the summary of this whole of the chapter, that the editorial board of your institute will go on to do that, And then the current affairs. We're going to be talking about current affairs associated with it. Now, this is something that will keep on getting itself updated. And if you're a part of this portal, if you're going to be having this application downloaded, you will going to understand it. And lastly, questions and answers. What are the type of questions that can be asked, and how is it that can be answered? So this topic will go on to give you a complete idea about it. Complete idea about what are the different segments. For example, on geology and physiography, you're going to be getting a book that is The New World. TNW means the New World, Geography and Society. That is the video explanation multimedia. I'm going to be using it. That's going to be my name for KSA. And lecture form is going to be associated with that is available. Questions and answers are available. And as you're going to find it, current affairs is not. This is largely because this will be updated as and when there is a news on the topic concerned. For example, if there is a news on topics like, let's say, climate of the world, or maybe any type of a climatic phenomena that has taken place with the climate of the whole of the world. Now, that will go on to become an important, significant aspect in this case. That will go on to become a part of current affairs. Supposing if something like a meteoritic impact not goes on to be taking place, because if it goes on to take place, we will not be here to pick up the class or even to appear for the examination also. There is some new type of research has come on the meteoritic impact, like some type of research has come on the asteroidal impact. So that goes on to become a part of the topic. Then we're going to be talking of magnetic reversals, any one of them. That's the way that the topic will go on to proceed. And this is what exactly is going to be part of it. Everything is going to be made available to you in such a manner. Having said that, you have this part. How best you can go to utilize this part? The best way to study this topic is we are going to assume that you have studied your school, and that you don't going to be having any issue associated with a study of the chapters, because we're going to assume that your basics are super solid. It's a mains class, not a prelims class, that we're going to think of preparing you for your basics. If you're not prepared with the basics, you can't go to understand a topic like that of jet stream. You can't go to understand something like if we're going to talk about subduction zone. Now, we are not at that level right now in this class where these things are going to be explained. It will be understood that you have prepared for your prelims examination, and then you have come for your mains topic. So that is how exactly that we are talking about. How best to utilize it. So before picking a world geography, the candidates must have understood and must have studied and understood topics like rocks, geological history, all the basics of geography, and that means all of these books that you going to be talking about, whatever books that you studied in your school days, NCERT or any one of them. And there are going to be a good number of cheap portals that go on to provide you certain type of information on these things also. Now, you can go on to thereafter, you can go to come to be a part of it, go online and follow the sequence. The first thing, read the topic. You have been given the topic, read it. Once you have read it, it goes on to become easy for you to move ahead with it. So, once having read it, you go on to follow the sequence. That is, read the topics, then listen to the explanation. This is the explanation that we are talking about. And then, you have been given a summary also, synopsis also. So follow the synopsis. And you have some model answers. In this case, that is the questions and answers. Use them. Now, compare your answers with the model if you have written something. Now, you'll keep on getting yourself updated on certain things regularly. Keep an eye on the update. And then thereafter, after the completion of this course, what you're going to do is that you have to start writing answers. You have to have a command over your language, command your remembering ability, interpretation of the topic, use of how is it that you can go to use flow charts, maps. We'll keep on inserting it off and on in association with you. But then this is something that is what you start practicing. When you start practicing it, you will come to learn certain things more and more. That is, how is it that you can go to adhere to the word limit? How is it that you can go for certain things like that of use of the quality improvement program, which go on to be a part of it and associated with it, the tricks and the techniques associated with it. Although in this process, you will be able to understand it. And you have, of course, as a part of a portal, you have your answer bank. 1,500, something like some 1,000 answers of general studies. A good number of them have been discussed. And this is something that you can go to look for. That's the way that you have to go and follow this whole of the topic. That was the basic purpose of organizing this as an introductory class. That means, what is world geography? And we have minded, we have not talked about Indian geography. So what is world geography? That's number one. Second is not only what is world geography, also what exactly is the syllabus? What are the type of questions that have been asked? What are the new type of questions that can be asked? How is it that the syllabus can be reinterpreted, and what can be the components associated with it?